Ooh, Vox video, specifically about World War II. Now, if you didn't know this, because I don't think I've ever mentioned it, I'm a huge nerd. More specifically about World War II, World War I to a lesser degree, but World War II, I have so many books about it.
These women are working on the Churchill tank.
Is that actually the Churchill, or a variant of it? It's a variant of it, but sure, whatever.
A World War II era British tank that was heavily armored,
They use another variant of the Churchill.
but agile enough to climb. From 1941 to 1945,
I think the last photo they just showed was actually the Churchill.
of what the New York Times called the world's deadliest tanks were made.
That's debatable. You should also tell the Germans that.
But there was a problem. The Churchill tank weighed at least 40 tons, 36 metric tons. Imagine 20 cars. That would cause a normal bridge to buckle. Without a way to cross water, the Churchill tank was basically useless. American tanks had the same problem.
M3 medium? That's not an that's an M3. It's not called a medium, though. Vox, you dumb.
And as the war waged on, the Allies needed new bridges and replacement ones. Bombed out bridges, like this one in Germany, needed a sturdier fix than a gangway. The solution to both of these problems was a new type of bridge that improved on old breakthroughs and also represented a model maker's way of thinking about how a bridge could win a war.
Yeah. They used triangles. Big surprise.
Here's a bridge being built in China in 2020.
Yep. I see
Now
it.
imagine no heavy machinery, no custom design, no materials heavier than a person could carry, and no reliable access to their side of the river. And half the time, you had to build it at night. That's the challenge of a wartime bridge. Donald Bailey was an engineer at the British Experimental Bridging Establishment in 1940, and he needed a way to make the standard temporary bridge, the Inglis Bridge, work for a new generation of heavy tanks.
Triangles.
When the Inglis Bridge buckled under test weights, Bailey took an envelope out and sketched an idea for a new bridge. He'd made models since he was a kid and used them to help test his design. He needed something adjustable to a range of gaps. It could work with a pontoon floating in a river, as well as with land. It had to be made of something other than aluminum, because airplanes needed that. It could be made easily by manufacturers.
Steel.
No confusing parts. But most importantly, everything had to fit in a small service truck and be lifted by 6 soldiers. The design is strong and more flexible than earlier ones like the Inglis
Almost like triangles do be like that, though.
Bridge or this small box girder bridge that was also used. The panel was smaller than a box girder, lighter, and easier to stack. This is the key to his design. I'll show you. It's the real breakthrough ingredient. This reinforcement makes a bridge that's really strong.
Okay, so, explain. He basically has a box, a rectangle with 3, what are they called? Square-like diamonds in the middle. The reason this works is not because they're triangles, but because they're artificial triangles. So if you look, imagine, and you look at where the forces are going through and where the tension or suspension is, you can see how the entire bridge supports itself.
But at just 570 pounds, 6 people could lift it. Other designs, like the Inglis Bridge, twisted under heavy weight. The Bailey Bridge didn't. You can see how easy it is to move in this video, made shortly after the war. Panels were joined by pins driven in. After that, soldiers
Is that a pin?
laid a transom across. I used glue to join mine, but claims made the process even easier. But it is the next step before finishing the bridge that made the Bailey Bridge even more special.
Okay. What?
See these men pushing?
Yep, I do. Let's continue.
See these men pushing?
Yep, I do. I definitely see them. It's almost like it was constructed on land and then pushed onto supports.
You could roll a Bailey Bridge across a gap. Important when you couldn't get to the other side during a war.
Yep.
I can kind of show you with
Music
mine
is
and
so
this
dramatic.
roller right here. Rollers to slide the bridge along,
Mm-hmm.
and a link to make the front of the bridge slightly tilt up by making the bottom longer than the top. You can see it here in
Yeah.
this Army manual. The
Mm-hmm.
bridge is pushed along the rollers with more weight, usually more panels in back, to keep it from tipping over. Sometimes
Yeah.
they drive on it as a counterweight too. In the front, this link makes the nose tilt up.
Yep,
The
it does.
snoot didn't droop. That helps keep it from sinking into the gap as it gets pushed across.
If you've ever studied World War II bridges, this is very basic information. But okay.
Adding a second or even third level was easy, thanks to the Bailey Bridge's modular design.
Yep, because it was very simple and, it was a bunch of squares.
These bridges quickly became an indispensable tactical trend. By 1943, wartime manuals were sandwiching crucial Bailey Bridge facts in between information about German guns and warnings about dangerous fish.
Mm.
The Allies built 2,500 Bailey Bridges in Italy and 1,500 in Northwest Europe, as well as some in other theaters, allowing those heavy Churchill tanks and the American equivalents to move over
Or Churchill variants.
land and water alike. General Dwight D. Eisenhower said, along with radar and the heavy bomber, it was one of the three most important engineering and technological
Source: bridging in the Second World War, an imperative to victory. Denny's.
developments of World War
Okay.
II. Now, labeling the Bailey Bridge as the reason the Allies won the war, it's impossible.
No, it was because Hitler didn't bomb airfields. Or at least that's the main reason. And naval yards and things like that.
To say. However, a model maker's breakthrough gave them a tool that was flexible, fast, and strong in a war that needed all three of those things. The modular design messaged a more flexible, nimble type of construction.
So are those actually... I think those might be
And the Bailey
rivets.
Bridge did allow them to cross the rivers in Italy and push a bridge over the Rhine. They could use a Bailey Bridge playing accordion over the water.
They didn't mention the violinist or violist, though.
They could cross and play
Wait.
piano.
That's not Churchill. That's American.
They could cross and play piano amidst the ruins.
I like how the guy plays a chord. His hand is like 12 feet from C. That's amazing. Good job, Vox. Great. Okay, bye.